Okay, picture this for a second. You walk into your bathroom, but instead of just cold, sterile tile everywhere, you're feeling the warmth of, say, weathered wood. And sunlight's coming in maybe through a slatted ceiling, casting these, shifting shadows on smooth river stones right there under your feet.
Yeah, sounds amazing already.
Right. And maybe there's this quiet sound like a little water feature nearby. So today, we're really diving deep into how using natural elements, like intentionally, can turn our bathrooms into these really restorative spaces.
More than just functional.
Exactly. Places that connect us back to a sense of calm, back to nature. We've been looking at all these descriptions of bathroom designs, and they really emphasize feeling, ritual, escape, almost.
Yeah, going beyond just, the basics of a sink and a shower.
Totally. So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to pull out the key ideas. How can these design choices, using natural stuff, really build serenity and that nature connection in such a personal space?
And what jumps out right away from the sources is this. It's like a complete rethink of what the bathroom is even for.
How so?
It's moving beyond just ticking boxes functionally. It's about actually crafting an experience. There's a real deliberate effort to engage your senses, nurture your well-being using what nature already gives us.
Absolutely. And one of the most, compelling ideas I saw was how these designs just kind of dissolve the boundary between inside and outside.
Yeah, blurring those lines.
And we're not just talking about, sticking a lonely plant on the windowsill. Imagine bathing literally open to the sky.
Wow.
Or finding this completely enclosed garden courtyard, but it's still open air right off the bathroom. Some even have these semi-outdoor areas, maybe with bamboo shading overhead.
It feels like the core idea there is minimizing that feeling of being boxed in, right? By bringing in things like actual rain, maybe, or the sounds of rustling leaves. Water, the design really makes you feel immersed.
Less artificial.
Exactly. Less like something totally constructed and more like you just happened upon this natural spot.
Yeah.
Almost discovered.
And it's not always these huge, dramatic things either. Even in, let's say, more typical bathrooms, they maintain that connection.
Yeah.
Maybe through skylights that open right up or carefully placed windows looking out through bamboo.
Right, just that constant gentle nudge reminding you of the world outside.
Yeah.
And that kind of seamless flow.
Yeah.
It's really helped along by the materials themselves. Which brings us nicely to the next big thing. The sheer power of natural materials and textures.
Oh, the textures, the descriptions were amazing. You've got the cool grounding feel of river pebbles, volcanic stone, slate.
Underfoot.
And then the warmth you get from wood cedar, weathered planks, maybe reclaimed oak, teak, even things like rattan, giving that airy woven feel.
And think about how they're used together. Like rough river rock, maybe right next to a smooth, dark stone tub. Or that subtle coolness of terrazzo on bare feet.
Yes, or matte concrete walls, sort of quiet, letting the wood or the linen really stand out.
And even simpler things, like handmade clay jars, maybe unglazed.
Yeah.
That raw, earthy feel.
It's not just about looks, is it? It's the feeling.
Precisely. And the metals, too, they weren't just shiny taps. Things like matte black or aged brass, copper. They get that patina,
They change.
They change with time, with the water. It creates this visible connection to, time passing. It makes the whole space feel more alive, less static.
Like the bathroom itself is evolving.
Exactly.
Oh.
And the key thing here, I think, is how deliberate the texture choices are. It's not trying to make it look busy or cluttered.
No.
It's about inviting touch, inviting that richness of feeling. It helps you be more present. The difference between cool, hard stone and then soft, warm linen.
That contrast.
Yeah, it creates this balance, this comfort.
Which actually leads perfectly into the greenery aspect, because it wasn't just, let's put a plant here. The descriptions made it feel like the plants really belonged, like they were thriving.
Right. Like ivy climbing up a trellis naturally, or huge elephant ear plants in urns, ferns, maybe flowering herbs, even moss, just integrating.
Yeah, seamlessly fitting in with the stone and wood.
It really gives that impression of thriving, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the plants just naturally took root there. It's not just decoration, it's like a little living ecosystem.
Biophilia, right, that connection we have to living things.
Exactly. That's why it feels so calming, so restorative. It taps into something fundamental.
And then there's the light and shadow. That was another big one. Natural light, maybe filtering through slats or big skylights, creating these shifting patterns all day.
Oh, vital. So vital. It's not static, is it? It changes, brings energy, connects you to the day's rhythm.
And not just daylight. They mentioned softer light, too.
Yeah, candlelight, lanterns
Yeah.
for the evening, creates a totally different atmosphere, much calmer, more intimate.
And it's not just sight, is it? It's sound, too.
Absolutely. The sound of rain, maybe a small water feature trickling, leaves rustling outside.
Those natural sounds really cut through the noise, don't they?
They do. They amplify the quiet, help fade out the distractions. It wraps you in this natural soundscape. It's all part of making it a real retreat, engaging all the senses.
And something else that really struck me was this embrace of imperfection, of aging.
Yes. Choosing materials, because they'll patina. Like weathered wood getting more character, stone maybe getting a little lichen.
Ceramic basins maybe darkening a bit with use, fixtures getting that aged look.
It's such a different mindset, isn't it? Moving away from wanting everything to stay brand new forever.
Yeah, it celebrates the process.
Exactly. Change, evolution, it makes the space feel less frozen, more like it breathes, develops its own story through how it interacts with water, with us.
One description said, "Nothing is frozen in perfection." I liked that.
That's beautifully put. And that acceptance of natural change, it just makes the whole space feel more relaxed, more grounded.
And this idea flows right into the little sensory details, the rituals.
Oh yeah, the small things that make daily routines feel special.
The descriptions were lovely. Folded linen towels, maybe. Handmade jars. The scent of essential oils. Hand-woven baskets for texture.
Dried flowers, pumice stones, those clay oil diffusers. They become part of the experience, not just stuff.
They're not just tacked on, they feel intentional. They encourage you to slow down, right?
To actually notice them, feel them, smell them. It turns mundane things like washing your hands into a small ritual, a moment of care.
Like a simple stone pitcher that just sits there looking beautiful, or an open book left out, hand-chiseled vanities showing the craft.
Even just a bowl of river stones or bundles of sage or lavender, it all adds to that sanctuary feeling.
It's more than just how it looks, it's how it feels, how it smells, like a living sculpture almost.
Yeah, where even everyday items have this quiet beauty and purpose.
And tying this all together visually is the color palette. Very natural.
Definitely. Lots of earth tones, colors like river clay, dried grass, muted greens, blues, like moss, colors pulled right from the landscape.
Yeah, no harsh neons or anything.
No, the idea seems to be harmony, subtlety. These colors are inherently calming, connecting you to the earth. And they change subtly with the light too, which adds another layer of dynamism.
It creates this visual quietness that works so well with all the textures and natural shapes.
Absolutely. And the physical design, the layout, also really pushes this idea of flow, of transition.
How so?
Things like timber archways maybe, or smooth sliding wooden doors, stone paths leading you somewhere. It's about making movement feel natural.
Effortless transitions, yeah. No sharp corners, no cold edges, just flow.
Exactly. Making the boundaries between areas, even indoors and outdoors, feel softer, less rigid. It adds to the feeling of space, of freedom.
And it's really important, I think, that this isn't just for huge, fancy bathrooms.
Oh, definitely not. The sources were clear on that.
You can apply these ideas anywhere, right? Even just transforming a little corner with maybe a bamboo screen, the right light, some greenery.
That's such a key point. It's not about size, it's about the intention, the choices you make. Small touches can totally change the feeling of a space.
So if we try and sort of pull all these threads together, what's the core philosophy here? What are these designs really trying to do?
Well, fundamentally, I think it's about designing with nature, not just borrowing bits of it.
Right.
It's about creating a rhythm in the space that feels natural, that encourages you to slow down, to soften your senses, maybe find some quiet.
And embracing those raw living materials.
Yeah, and choosing them partly for how they'll age, how they'll interact with water, with time, welcoming lichen, welcoming wood turning silver. Nature isn't just scenery, it's an active participant.
So what's the ultimate aim? What's the feeling, the experience they want to create?
I think it boils down to peace, presence, connection. These spaces are built to invite slowness, stillness, make you more aware of the sensory details around you. The real luxury isn't flashiness.
No.
It's the atmosphere, the energy, the life in the space. Creating a sanctuary for your body, yes, but also for your mind, especially our overstimulated minds.
Okay, so just to quickly wrap up the main themes, we've seen the blurring of indoors and outdoors, the huge impact of natural materials and textures, the essential role of greenery,
The play of light and shadow, embracing imperfection and aging.
those crucial sensory details, the harmonious natural colors, the importance of flow and transition, and the fact that this works at any scale.
Yeah, all pointing towards designing with nature to create these genuinely restorative retreats, moving way beyond just function to actually nurture our well-being.
It really has been eye-opening. It makes you look at your own bathroom differently, doesn't it? Thinking about how even small things could bring in some of that calm.
Definitely.
So on that note, a final thought for everyone listening. What's just one small, natural element you could bring into your own bathroom routine? Something that might shift the feeling just a little from purely functional towards a moment of mindful connection. Imagine this for a second. Just picture stepping into a space and the air feels soft, maybe a hint of eucalyptus, you know? And just outside, under this big roof overhang, you can actually hear rain drumming on stone.
Okay, I'm with you.
You're barefoot, feeling the cool stone, maybe wrapped in a light linen robe. And the light, it's all dappled, dancing on the floor through leaves. Doesn't that just immediately take you somewhere else?
It absolutely does. And what's striking right off the bat is how that image, that feeling, it's so much more than just, a functional bathroom.
Exactly. It's not just about washing.
No, it's about the whole environment, the sensory details working together.
Right, and that's really what we're getting into today. We've been looking at these descriptions of some pretty unique bathing spaces from our sources.
Yeah, some really evocative examples.
And the mission here, our goal for this deep dive, isn't just to admire them, but to really pull out the key principles. What makes these spaces feel so, transformative?
What elevates them beyond just getting clean?
Precisely. How do they connect so deeply? So I guess the first big insight is right there, using design, using natural things like rain or scent, to completely shift the experience away from just function.
And that really taps into a bigger idea, doesn't it? How our surroundings fundamentally shape how we feel, our well-being.
Totally. These aren't just aesthetic choices. They're like cues for our body and mind.
They guide how we respond.
So as you go through these descriptions, something that becomes super clear is how different they all are. Each one feels like it really grew out of its specific place.
Yes, there's definitely no sense of a template being applied.
Which makes you wonder, how much of great design is about sticking to a plan versus letting it emerge?
Well, these examples definitely seem to lean towards emergence, responding to the context. Could you maybe unpack that idea of organic emergence a bit more?
Sure. I think it means the design isn't forced onto the site. It grows from the place itself, the land, the weather, the materials you find there.
Right. It's about listening first before imposing a style. It links to that design idea of contextualism, where the surroundings are paramount.
That makes total sense. Like that first space, the semi-outdoor one, that big roof overhang, it's not just for looks.
No, it's a smart response to the weather.
Exactly. Lets you be near the rain, hear it, feel the coolness, but stay dry. And the bare feet on stone, the simple robe, it all reinforces that connection, but with shelter.
And the eucalyptus scent you mentioned, that's another layer. Hitting the sense of smell so directly, it's immersive.
It really is. It's hitting multiple senses, isn't it? Touch, smell, sight, even the soundscape.
That multi-sensory thing is definitely key to making these spaces feel so complete, so transporting.
And you look at something like the courtyard bathroom description, wow, completely different vibe.
Totally different. Openness is the feeling there.
Yeah, banana leaves nearby, sunlight coming through woven screens, that dark volcanic span that holds the sun's heat.
And the rain shower with no walls at all.
Right, just open, that blurring of inside and outside, it feels incredibly powerful. Can you almost feel that? Being open, but still somehow private.
It's fascinating, that contrast.
Okay.
It suggests both vulnerability, maybe, but also a real sense of freedom.
Liberation.
Bathing out in the elements like that, it creates a totally different emotional state than the first example.
But both are totally rooted in responding to their specific place.
Exactly. Which just shows there's no single correct way to create a space like this.
It's all about that deep understanding and, thoughtful response to what's already there. Climate, materials, the feeling you're aiming for.
Precisely. And, that naturally leads us to another really strong theme that came through this idea of imperfection.
Yeah.
And the power of, the human touch in the design.
Oh, I love this part. The idea that aiming for some kind of sterile, flawless perfection, that's not the point at all.
No, it's the personality, as one source put it. The presence of touch.
Yeah.
That's what gives them their power.
It really resonated with me, too. It's like these little imperfections give the space a history, make it feel authentic, lived in.
Yeah, think about maybe a hand-woven cushion or like a mirror hanging from a bit of twisted rope that's maybe slightly fogged.
Exactly. They're not perfect factory items. They have character.
Or the raw edge on a stone sink,
Exact.
Or a hand-carved bowl, maybe a shelf that's just a little bit crooked.
Yes. You can almost sense the visible hand of a person, right? Feels crafted, not mass-produced.
And that intention, that human element, it translates directly into how the space makes you feel.
It's not just about getting physically clean anymore. It's that phrase, quietly transformed.
That's it. And that transformation, it partly comes from being surrounded by things that feel human, that have a bit of soul.
It's almost like those little flaws are whispering, hey, it's okay to be imperfect, like us.
That's such a great point. It creates this sense of ease, of acceptance, in a world often chasing unattainable perfection.
These spaces just embrace the organic, the slightly off, and that makes them comfortable, makes you feel connected.
Definitely. And then building on that, there's the huge role water plays in these descriptions.
Oh, absolutely. It's way more than just plumbing, isn't it?
Much more. It often feels like a central defining element.
Huh.
Water has such deep symbolic meaning anyway. Cleansing, calm, life.
Sacred, even.
Right, sacred. And these examples really tap into that resonance.
There is that description of the long, shallow channel with smooth black stones and water just trickling over them. And the feeling it evoked was described as ancient and sacred. Just picturing walking barefoot next to that, the coolness, the sound.
It becomes almost meditative, doesn't it? That soft, constant trickle.
Yeah. Could you imagine having something like that, even small scale, as part of your daily space?
It elevates just moving through the area into something more like a ritual. It grounds you, makes you more aware.
And even the simple rain shower in the courtyard one, the description of it falling in perfect silence.
That highlights the water's own beauty, its quiet presence. It's not just about efficiency.
No, it's about the sensation of being enveloped by water in this really gentle, almost ethereal way.
And the silence around it actually makes you notice the water more. It emphasizes its purity, its quiet power. It adds so much to the calm.
Which all flows, really, into this next idea, blurring the boundaries, moving away from hard separations, inside-outside.
And really inviting the natural world in.
Yes. These places act almost like permeable membranes, don't they?
That's a good way to put it. Like that woven rattan screen example. You get some privacy, sure, but
light still comes through, breezes still pass through, you're still connected.
exactly. Or the thatched ceiling that apparently breathes with the wind.
Such a poetic image. Suggests a living space, interacting with the elements.
And the handmade tile floor with those natural, earthy colors. It all contributes to feeling less separated.
Less boxed in.
Right. By minimizing those rigid divisions, these designs create this powerful feeling of immersion. Earth, light, water, they become part of the bathing ritual itself.
You feel connected to something bigger.
Exactly. And the richness, the sheer variety of sensory details used is just amazing. Every material, every texture feels chosen for a reason.
To create a specific atmosphere, yeah.
And the contrasts are really interesting. The cool touch of metal against soft cotton.
Or a smooth, polished shell next to rough plaster.
Heavy wood beside whispering leaves. These juxtapositions add so much depth to the experience. You feel them.
And the play with light, too. Some spaces are described as really quiet, almost monochrome.
Minimalist, yeah.
Where maybe just one plant becomes the focus, its shadow moving across the wall. That stillness feels so intentional.
In those spaces, the lack of clutter lets you appreciate the subtle things more, the texture of the stone, the way the light shifts. There's a kind of luxury in that simplicity.
But then you have the opposite. Spaces bursting with warmth terracotta walls, vibrant cobalt blue tile.
Yeah, and maybe the scent of crushed herbs hanging in the air. Totally different energy.
But still so thoughtfully created, engaging the senses differently. Color, pattern, smell.
Even small things, like a simple stool carved from a tree trunk. It's wood grain unique like a fingerprint that connects you back to nature, to imperfection again.
And I loved that phrase, that even without actual music, there's a rhythm of form.
In a melody of atmosphere.
Yeah. Created by how all these elements work together, it really captures that holistic feeling, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how design can create this whole emotional and sensory landscape that affects us really deeply, often subconsciously.
And I think ultimately what connects all these diverse spaces is this underlying intention to help us slow down.
To intentionally step away from the noise and rush of everyday life.
And just be present.
Yes, to cultivate presence, The simple act of bathing, which is often just rushed through.
Becomes this moment for mindful engagement,
Yeah.
a deliberate act of care.
That shift from just a task to a kind of ceremony feels really important.
It does. It's about paying attention to the small things, lighting a candle, the sound of water pouring, washing your face consciously, just remembering to be there.
Remembering our bodies aren't just machines, they're vessels needing care. Seeing water not just as a utility, but a gift.
And realizing that great design isn't just about how a place looks, but fundamentally, how it makes us feel.
Absolutely. And even practical things, like storage, they fit into this philosophy.
Right, like the open bamboo shelves with neat towels or woven baskets holding nice soaps, maybe a driftwood drawer for little things.
The storage isn't hidden away guiltily. It's often open, accessible, part of the aesthetic.
Everything has its place. It feels ordered, cared for.
Full with care, not clutter. That orderliness contributes a lot to the overall sense of calm.
And you know, it's that deep connection to place and not chasing trends that seems to give these spaces a timeless feel. They won't look dated quickly.
If you found this video helpful or inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Interior Blockchain Studio for more expert design ideas, trends, and creative inspiration. Your support helps us bring you even more amazing content, so make sure to turn on notifications and stay updated with our latest uploads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.